Yes. That's right.
Shaking.
Thank you all for coming today. I think it's an important part of the political process to come and meet the people who actually want to represent you. If you ask the government why we still have prohibition, you will be told it's to protect our young people, our people at risk from the harms of cannabis, and to stop organised crime from profiteering from government. Well, you don't need me to tell you that that's not happening. We have children, school-aged children with cannabis. We have people at risk who have been harmed by their abuse of cannabis. And we have, if you believe the media, tinny house in every second street with kids going in for cannabis and coming out with pee. Prohibition is failing every day. If you believe the lies about cannabis, with 400,000 New Zealanders using cannabis annually, why are our hospitals and our cemeteries not filled up with cannabis casualties? You have to look at the lie and you have to see it as the lie that it is. Aotearoa Legalise Cannabis Party is not advocating the use of cannabis, but we are looking at changing a law that has failed, a law that harms people in our community, and a law that protects no one except the gang's bottom line. Businesses in small rural areas like here, Aotearoa, down the coast and all up on the North Island get through the winter months with the help from the cannabis black market economy. That is why Aotearoa Legalise Cannabis Party is advocating a cottage industry style regulation regime that will keep money from the community in the community. A regulation design will allow an adult to grow a couple of plants for personal use. A regulation design will allow growers to purchase a license from the government to cultivate cannabis only to be sold to licensed outlets. These licensed outlets will be R18 entry. These licensed outlets will not be allowed to advertise or promote cannabis or its use. We believe that this one act, removing cannabis from the Misuse of Drugs Act, placing it, regulating it alongside alcohol and tobacco, will finally allow us to tax a $2 billion industry and at the same time stop a decades-long funding source for gangs. Labor will not tell you that in 1975, medical research found that cannabis stopped the spread of brain tumours and shrunk them. Why don't we have cancer-killing medicines from cannabis? Because the plant is prohibited. We have people in our community who are safely medicated with cannabis, safely until they're called by the police, and then they cease being patients and they become criminals. Is that what we want in our community? National will tell you that in the near future, biofuel issue will be a central issue to this country. But they will not tell you that cannabis is 77% cellulose, the best plant worldwide to supply plant-based biofuel. They won't tell you that it would take 40% of our forestry estate or 7% of our farmed area growing in cannabis to supply our current fuel needs. They won't tell you this. The plant is prohibited, we can't do it. I believe that prohibition is failing in its responsibilities. And it's also blocking the uses and benefits of the plant. I also believe that politics is firstly about representation. And I know that Labor and National both have the ability to lead a government at the next election. But when I look at these parties and I see that they blatantly ignore a failing law that's harming people in our communities, I ask, who are they really representing? And because of this, I'm putting myself forward as a candidate for West Coast Tasman electorate. Because I talk to people in this area, I talk to people on the coast, and I hear the same thing. And that is, we don't want government's hand in our pockets all the time. We don't want government looking over our shoulder all the time. But when we have concerns, we want representation. And it won't be my party that tells me what you want. It'll be you that tell me what you want. I'll stand there beside you and represent you when you need me. That's what I can do, and that's what I will do. The parties will tell you that the party vote's the important one. It's the party vote that who determines who runs the country. But I believe the important vote is the representational vote, because that's the vote of the people. That's putting someone in Parliament to represent you. And I am willing to do that. And I feel that if you want to see cannabis managed in a mature, responsible, compassionate way, you want to see non-toxic medicine developed and more than $2 billion added into our economy, you will tick the leaf. You will give your party vote to Aotearoa Legalise Cannabis Party. And if you want honest, consistent representation, you will give your tick to me, Steve Wilkinson. Thank you.